All right, so let me ask you something. Who here watching this wants to win? I mean, really wants to win. Raise your hand, or at least, give me kind of something like that. Now, who here actually has a plan to do it? You see, that is the gap. Everybody wants to win, but nobody actually has a system to get there. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you how to fix that, and I'm gonna show you how to do it very easily. But before we do, let me just be clear about something. The only person that you need to impress is the future you. Not your buddy, not your spouse, not even me, not the guy on Instagram with that Lambo. The future you. That's it. That is the scoreboard that actually matters. Does that make sense to you? Okay, so what I want to do is I want to break this down. There are 5 things that we're going to cover, and what you need to do to make it work, how to do it, why to do it, and who you need to become, and when you need to start. All right? All right, let's go. So first, what do you need to do? Here's what most people get wrong all the time. They sit around, they're going, what should I do to win? Right? Stupidest question. What should I do to grow? What should I do to scale? They can't even figure out any of these things. And you know what? What's easier is to figure out how to lose. Why don't you go the other way, right? Seriously, think about it. Your brain is wired for this. We are built, as humans, we are built to find problems. We are terrible finding solutions on our own. But man, we are world class at finding problems in our lives. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to imagine the worst version of yourself in business. Just kind of think about it for a second. The version that goes broke, the version that loses everything. What does that person do? Well, it's simple. They probably don't follow up on their leads. They probably don't even answer the phone. They don't have systems. They wing everything that they do. They hire all the wrong people. They don't track any of their data, like none of their numbers. They always skip training, and they make emotional decisions. Does that sound familiar? Yeah, because most of you are doing half of that list right now, and you're wondering why it's not working. Now, here's the magic flip. Take every single thing on that how to lose list. Simple. Just do the exact opposite. That now becomes your playbook, right? You don't answer the phone. Well, start answering the phone. The phone on the first ring, not just eventually. You don't follow up. Well, build a CRM that follows up for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You wing your sales calls. Well, get a script, put in the reps, role play. See, it's not that complicated. We are the ones who overcomplicate it. So why don't we just dumb this down for a second? If you know how to lose and you already know how to win, you're just choosing not to do it. That's your choice now. Every day you're making that choice. So now you've got the list. You know what to do. But you're sitting there going, well, Steve, I know what to do. Steve, I just can't do it. You know why? It's simple reason. Because you haven't broken it down far enough. So what I want to do is I want to give you an example. If I tell a brand new pilot to fly an airplane, what happens? Well, they crash. They don't know how to fly the airplane. But if I say, put your hand on this, push this forward, watch the gauges, when it hits this number, pull back, well, they can do that. Why? Because it's broken down into small baby steps. It's that simple. Now, think about you. That is your problem. You are giving yourself commands that are too big. I need to get better at sales. Okay, well, what does that even mean? Do you have any idea what that actually means? No, so break it down. Getting better at sales means what? I need to answer the phone with energy. I need to ask the right discovery questions. Identify their problem. present your solution. Then maybe I need to handle an objection. Ask for the close. Follow up if they don't close. That is step by step. You see how specific that is? See, now I can actually train someone on each of those things individually. Now, it's not this big, scary thing. It's just steps. Here's what I've learned about flying airplanes. And I've been doing this for 29 years. Every checklist that we do, it's just a series of baby steps. That's all it is. And the reason planes don't crash is because we follow those steps every single time. We don't skip steps because we're feeling confident today. We don't skip steps because we've done it 1,000 times. See, the system is what catches our mistakes. Your business, it should be working the same way. So now, let me define a few things for you because I think people get these things confused. Learning is when the same situation shows up, but you do something different. Same condition, new behavior. That's it. If you didn't change what you did, then let's face it, you didn't learn anything, except maybe doing something twice. See, intelligence is measured in how fast you change. The faster you can look at something that's not working and make a pivot, the smarter you are. It's the speed of learning. That's all it is. And confidence. This is a big one. Confidence, it's not something that you're born with. Confidence comes from proof. And proof, that comes from reps. See, if you do something enough times and it works, well, now you're confident. You're not confident before you do it. You're confident after you've done it 100 times. So, question is how do you think you get confident in sales? Well, kind of simple. Do 100 sales calls. How do you get confident in marketing? Run 100 campaigns and track the data. How do you get confident in leadership? You lead people through 100 hard situations. See, there is no shortcut. It's the reps. It's very similar to going to the gym, right? All right, now part 3. Why should you do it? That's a big question. See, here's where people fall off all the time. They start something and then it gets hard. So guess what they do? They quit. They go chase the next shiny object. A new business idea, a new marketing strategy, maybe a new coach, a new everything. But you know what that is? Do you know what that's called? That's called opportunity hopping. And it is the fastest way for you to stay broke. Let me explain why. You stick with something all the time. There's a compounding effect when you do it. And the longer you do it, the more you get out of every unit of effort. So I want you to think about like a pilot, right? We're building hours. My first 1,000 hours, I gotta be honest, I was just surviving. 10,000 hours in, 20,000 hours in, flying a 777 around the world, right? I can do that pretty easily now. Same effort, but a massively different output. Do you know why? Because I stuck with it. See, the people who build real wealth, the people who build real businesses, they stick through the hard times. And that is where the magic happens. When everyone else quits, that's when the field clears, and that's when you get what's called market share. And more importantly, that's when you win. So I'm gonna say it again. What makes you extraordinary isn't what you're doing. It's how long you're actually willing to do it. A smooth sea never made a skilled sailor. See, when Pete and I were building our property management company way back when, There were times, I gotta be honest, I wanted to quit, but I didn't. I didn't want to even go into the business some days. But you know what? I didn't. I didn't want to open emails. I had that pit of the stomach feeling every single morning. But guess what we did? We stuck with it. We built the systems, we pushed through, and eventually we exited the venture capital. But what if I had quit at year 2? What if I had opportunity hopped because something else, because it was hard, right? And I thought something else is easier. I'll tell you what would happen. I'd still be grinding right now with nothing to show for it. Now, here's the internal piece, the motivation. And people tell me all the time, Steve, I'm not motivated, okay? But let me ask you this. If you hadn't eaten in 3 days, are you now motivated to find food? Yeah, of course you are. Why? Because you are deprived. See, what you need to understand is motivation comes from deprivation. You feel the gap between where you are and where you want to be. And guess what? That gap drives you. But here's the thing about money, it's not physical. It's not physical deprivation. It's psychological. You only feel broke if you compare yourself to people who have more. So the question is, who are you comparing yourself to? See, if you are hanging around with people who are comfortable making 200 grand and you're at 150, well, you're not that motivated, because if you're in a room with people doing maybe 5 million, maybe they're doing $10 million a year in revenue, all of a sudden, that gap, it's real. And deprivation kicks in. And you know what? Now you're hungry. That is why I talk about community so much. That's why the room you're in matters. The environment sets your standard. Change the room, change the standard. Pretty simple. Now, here's where I take it a step further. Stop comparing yourself to other people. I want you instead start comparing yourself to the future version of you. The version that hit the goal that you wrote down this morning. That's the gap that you should feel. That is the deprivation that should be driving you. Part 4, who do you need to become? See, that's just one thing. People are asking me this all the time. Steve, who do I need to become so that I can get to the next level? And look, here's the answer. And I gotta say, it is more simpler than you think. You need to do what the person you want to become does. And you've got to do it over and over again. That's it. You want to be a great leader? Well, pretty simple. Why don't you just do what great leaders do? Show up, make the hard calls, hold people accountable, have those uncomfortable conversations, and yeah, guess what? You're gonna do it again tomorrow. You wanna be a great closer? Do what great closers do. Learn the scripts, handle the objections, put in the reps on the daily sales accelerator that we do every single morning. And you know what? Do it again tomorrow. See, you are not defined by what you think about yourself. You're defined by what you do repeatedly. Actions create identity, not the other way around. See, this is the same thing I tell my coaching clients. I had a guy who kept telling me, Steve, I'm not a salesperson. And I finally said, you know what? You're right. You're not, because you're not doing what salespeople do. Start doing what they do, and yeah, guess what? You will become one of them. See, it's not about being born with something. Every skill, it can be learned. Every skill can also be broken down into baby steps, and every baby step can be practiced until it becomes second nature. You are in complete control of who you become. Now, that's the good news. The bad news, because you can't blame anyone else. That's on you. Okay, here's the last piece. Last question is when do you start? And this is when I'm gonna probably step on some toes here, because you know what? I know what you're thinking right now. You're like, Steve, you know what? This all sounds great, but now it just isn't a good time. Wrong. Now is the perfect time. And I'm gonna tell you why. See, if you start when you're busy, when things are hard, when the market is tough, when you've got a million things going on, and you still build the habit, you will never break it. You will stick with it in good times and bad, because you forged it in fire. But if you want to wait until things calm down, until you've got more time, until you've got more money, well, first of all, that day never comes. We both know it. And second of all, when you do start, the first time it gets hard again, you're probably going to quit, because you built the habit on the easy mode. See, here's the thing you want to remember. Champions are made in hard times. I became the better pilot in the simulator when everything was going wrong, not when it was smooth. And you know what? I became a better business owner when we were losing clients and bleeding money, not when things were easy. Now, I'm guessing some of you are gonna say, well, Steve, I don't have time. Okay, well, let me just ask you a question. Has anyone in history ever had less time than you and still made things happen? Yeah, absolutely. So it's not a time problem. It's an allocation problem. You're spending your time on the wrong things. That's it. If you're smart and busy and still broke, I gotta say, you're working on the wrong stuff, period. It's more about adding more to your plate, right? It's about eliminating 99% of the garbage that's not moving the needle. And the last excuse, when I get more money, then I will invest in myself. When I get more time, I'll work on the business. You realize you've got that order backwards. You don't get in order to do, you do in order to get. You don't save when you have more money. You have more money because you save. You don't exercise when your health gets better. Your health gets better because you exercise. You don't work on your business because when you have more time. You get more time because you worked on your business. So the question is when do you start? Pretty simple. Right now, today, this moment, the moment that you decide to be that future version of yourself, I will tell you that is when the clock starts. So let me just wrap this up. Here's the deal. You don't win in business or in life by showing up one day with this grand plan. You win by outlasting everyone else. You win by sticking to the system when it's boring. By doing the reps when no one's watching. You win by making small changes every single day. And if you can remember one thing from everything that I just said, I want you to remember this. If you did not change, you didn't learn. See, I don't care how many books you read. I don't care how many podcasts that you listen to, or I don't care how many events you go to. If you walked in one way and walked out the same way, you wasted your time. See, when you change your behavior, follow the system, put in the reps, and you will win. It's that simple. Does that make sense? I sure hope it does. Good. So now, let's get to work.